today we're going to work on some word problems using X and Y intercepts. So I want you to have open your actual homework assignment for today. So go ahead and click on that link in Schoology, open up the Desmos activity for today, because we're actually going to do part of that together as through our lesson today, okay? And then you'll just have to finish the rest of that homework as you move forward this afternoon, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and start with this scenario, okay? We have Tim working at a pet store, and he has to clean the fish tank, which means he needs to empty it, okay? Which means he has to take water out of the fish tank. So what is the x-intercept? Well, the x-intercept is down here at 7. So this is the x-intercept. So that ordered pair would be 7, 0. What is the y-intercept? On my graph, it's over here at 175. So 0, 175. Okay, so let's actually talk about what is happening in this graph. Okay, so if I look at my units, I see that we're talking about time and we're talking about water. So as time is passing, the water level in the tank is decreasing. Okay, the water level in the tank is decreasing. So how much water is in the tank when he starts? How much water is in the tank? So go ahead and hit pause for a second. Think about that. Write down an answer. And then if you think you got that one, move on to the next one. Okay, how much water is in the tank when he starts? Well, I know that a start means I'm talking about the beginning. And since this is a line, I know that I'm actually looking at the y equals mx plus b. I need the b. Okay, I need the b, which is here. That is my y-intercept. So there are 175 gallons of water in the tank when I start. Okay? What does this point mean right here? 7, 0. Remember, this is hours. And what unit is this? You're right if you said gallons. So at 7 hours, 0 gallons. What does that mean? That means the tank is empty. Okay, the tank is empty at this point. So how long did it take for him to empty the tank? It took 7 hours. Okay, it took 7 hours to empty that tank. Okay, let's look at this one. So I am climbing, I'm hiking in the mountains, and I see that I'm looking at altitude, which means I'm in thousands of feet. And in this case, I'm increasing in altitude, which means I'm climbing up the hill. But my temperature is decreasing, which makes sense because the higher I go, the colder it gets. Okay, so let's start with what is our y-intercept. The y-intercept is 0.59. And the x-intercept looks like it's right down here by the 16. So we're going to call that 16, 0. Okay? Let's think about our units. So 0.59. So the 0 is my altitude. And the 59 is the temperature. Okay? So this means at an altitude of 0, the temperature or the temp is 59 degrees. And that's my starting point, okay? So this is where I started. When I started, the temperature was 59 degrees. Okay, let's go down to the x-intercept. What does the 16 and 0 mean? Well, this is temperature. This is thousands of feet in altitude. So that's just not 16. That's 16,000 feet. So at 16,000 feet, the temperature was 0 degrees. Okay, it was 0 degrees. Let's go ahead and figure out our slope. So I'm starting at 59, and I'm going down to 0. So 59, and then I'm going over to 16. So 59 over 16. And I'm going to go ahead and figure this out per 1,000. Okay, so I'm going to divide. So let me pull up my calculator here. We're going to divide this out. So 59 divided by 16 is going to give me 3.7. Okay, so let's round that off. 3.7. So I'm going to call this 3.7 over 1. Okay? So what unit is the m? The m is my degrees, or my y is my degrees, and this is my 1,000 feet. So what my slope actually means is for every 1,000 feet, the temperature decreases, because that's negative, by 3.7 degrees. Okay? For every 1,000 feet I drop, the temperature is going to decrease by 3.7 degrees. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up your Desmos for today, and we're actually going to develop the equation and fill in some tables and that kind of thing. All right, so I'm going to start on this page, but I want you to have your Desmos open. So your Desmos should look like this, and I want you to be on slide 2. Okay, be on slide 2, because that's going to be where our first answer is going to go. Okay, your school drama club is putting on a play next month. By selling tickets for the play, the club hopes to raise $600 for the drama fund for new costumes, scripts, scenery for the future plays. Let X represent the number of adult tickets they sell at $8 each, and let Y represent the number of student tickets they sell at $5 each. So we're supposed to write the equation that best describes the word problem. Well, the first thing that I am realizing is this is an AX plus BY equals C, where I'm buying two things and getting a total, okay? So this is going to be my total, and I'm going to have something X plus something Y equals a total. So something X plus something Y equals a total. So let's read this again, and let's try to figure out where the numbers go. So your school drama club is putting on a play next month. By selling tickets for the play, the club hopes to raise $600 for the drama fund for costumes, scripts, scenery, and for future plays. What's the $600? Is that my X? Is that my Y? Or is that my total? You're right, that's my total. So I know it equals 600. Okay, let's keep reading. Let X represent the number of adult tickets. So I need to remember that X is adult. And then it says Y is student. Okay? So the first thing I'm coming across is my X. That means the 8's going to go next to the X. And the next one is my Y. So my equation is 8X plus 5Y equals 600. Okay? So let's go ahead and put that in our first spot. So 8X plus 5Y equals 600. Submit that and move on to your next slide. All right, now, this falls into our next slide. So the next slide, we're going to have to fill in our table and figure out how we got our X and Y intercepts. So how do I find X and Y intercepts again? You're right, it's substitution. So if I have 8X plus 5Y equals 0, and I have an X-intercept, what's 0, the X or the Y? You're right, it's the Y. So let's go ahead and find that equation. So 8X plus 5 times 0 equals 600. So that's going to go away. 8x equals 600. Go ahead and divide there and come up with your x. Hopefully you got x is 75. So the sorted pair is 75, 0. Now my y-intercept is going to be found pretty much the same way, except for this time I remember the x is 0. So 8 times the 0, 5y, 600, cross it out. 5y equals 600. So 600 divided by 5, y equals 120. So I've got 0, 120, and 75, 0. So let's go ahead and fill in your tables and answer the question. So I have, again, 75, 0 and 0, 120. So 75, and this one is 120. Okay, so now how do I know which one is my x-intercept and my y-intercept? What is the controlling factor there? So write your answer down. What controls, how do I know if it's my x-intercept or my y-intercept? What is the thing that controls that? Okay, well, hopefully you put something in there about the 0. Okay, because the 0 flip-flops. One of them has x equals 0, the other one has y equals 0. So hopefully you wrote something in there like that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and plot those points. So our first point was 75, 0. So let's go ahead and plot that point. And we're going to go ahead and label that. And then the next one is 0, 120. So 0, 120. And we'll go ahead and label that. Okay? All right, now, if I was to draw a line, it would run between those 2 points. Okay, it would run between those 2 points. So it would go from here, whoops, that's not a very good line, to there. So this is definitely going down. Okay, it's definitely going down. Okay, so now let's look at what is happening on the next slide. Okay, let's look at what's happening on the next slide. Okay, so go to your next slide. You're going to see that you've got a graph, and then we've got to answer these questions. Okay, we've got to answer these questions. So let me get out of this here. And here's my graph. And I'm going to go ahead and move this up a little bit so we can see it. Okay, so we have to answer the question, what does the x-intercept represent in this situation? So here's my x-intercept way down here. Okay, what does that represent? The 75, 0. And I'm going to go ahead and flip back to my PowerPoint here. And I'm going to go ahead and mark the 75, 0 down here. And my 120 up here, just so that we can have a graph. Okay, so my x-intercept is 75, 0. 75, 0. Well, what was x again? Well, if we flip back here, we said x was adult tickets. So this is adult, and this is student. So what does that point mean? What did I actually sell? Or what am I actually going to be able to buy for $600? How many adult tickets? 75. How many student tickets? 0. So I can buy 75 adult tickets and 0 student tickets, and I've spent $600. Okay, I can buy 75 adult tickets and 0 student tickets for $600. Now let's take a look at the y-intercept. That's 0, 120. Okay, 0, 120. So this is adult. This is student. So what are you actually buying? I'm buying 0 adult tickets and 120 student tickets, and I've spent $600. Okay, I've spent $600. So 0, 120. So both of those options work. Okay, both of those options work. So that should take you now to slide 7. Okay, now it's asking for one possible option for adult and student tickets that's not an X and Y intercept. That's going to spend $600. So how would I find that? Well, if you think about how anything on the line, any point on the line is going to make that true. Okay, so I could have a point here, or I could have a point here, I could have a point here. Anywhere on this line, I could have a point, and it's going to make that true. Okay, so I'm going to try to find one that is pretty exact. So it looks to me like there's a pretty good one right here. Okay, and I don't know that I can make that show up exactly, but I'm going to call that 25 and 80. 25 and 80. Okay, so my ordered pair that I'm looking at is 25, 80. Well, remember, this is the adult and this is the student. So I can buy 25 adult tickets and 80 student tickets for, how much was I spending? $600, and that won't change. Is there another one I can find? Well, it looks to me like there's one right here. So I can buy 50 and 40. So 50 and 40, 50, 40. What does that one mean? It means I can buy 50 adult tickets and 40 student tickets for $600. And that price is not going to change. Okay? All right, so you are going to be moving through this worksheet, and you're going to do another scenario just like the one we did to finish this guy up. Okay, so go ahead and finish filling things in, write your equations, do your work, come up with the answers, and we will move on tomorrow.